Today, we're diving into something that sits at a really fascinating crossroads. It's part speculative physics, part generative art, and part some seriously hardcore software engineering. It's called the Aetherium Hub, and, well, it's trying to do something truly audacious. The creators themselves use this exact quote to describe their work: a master key. You got to admit, it's a powerful, almost mysterious statement, isn't it? It makes you immediately start to wonder, what kind of digital locks are they building? And what doors are they hoping to open?
And that's the big question, right? That's what drives this whole thing. To find the answer, we're going to go on a little journey that starts at, literally, the beginning of the universe and ends with a single line of code. So first up, the big idea.
Okay, so at the very heart of the Aetherium Hub is this radical new model for reality itself. They call it a wave-first universe. The goal here isn't just to write some clever code, it's to base that code on a totally new and kind of elegant theory for how reality might actually be put together.
It all starts with how they reimagine the Big Bang. So, forget about a simple explosion of matter and energy. In this model, the Big Bang was an expansion of pure information, unfolding in this multidimensional, donut-shaped or toroidal pattern. The key takeaway here is, the universe begins not with a bang, but with a broadcast.
Right, so if the universe is just a broadcast of information, then what about something as fundamental as gravity? Well, in this model, it's not some force pulling things together. It's more like a persistent hum or a standing wave in a pool of water. It's a stable pinch point of resonance that just gently influences every other wave that happens to pass by.
And that same logic applies to matter itself, to you, to me, to this very screen. In this wave-first universe, we are all just these incredibly complex, stable vibrations. We're localized knots of information, oscillating in a way that's stable enough to hold a shape. Pretty wild, huh?
So if matter is the stable pattern, then energy is simply the movement. It's the flow of these waves through this informational fabric of reality. See how it all ties together? It's one elegant idea, a universe made not of physical stuff, but of pure patterns.
So that is the beautiful, grand theory. But how in the world do you actually build it? How do you turn these cosmic ideas into code? Well, you start with a fundamental building block, a kind of digital DNA for your new reality. And for this project, that's called the weave.
So what is a weave? At its simplest, yeah, it's a sequence of numbers, but it's designed to be so much more than that. It is the core data structure of the entire Aetherium Hub, and it's actually built with properties that make it behave like a physical substance inside the simulation.
And this is where it gets really clever. They're bridging the gap between abstract numbers and physical behavior. Every single weave is given properties like rigidity, its resistance to being changed, tension, which is a kind of stretching force, and even temperature, representing its internal kinetic energy. All of a sudden, these aren't just numbers in a list. They're a kind of digital material that you can actually work with.
Okay, so we have a cosmic theory, and we have a digital material to build with. Now we just need the workshop, the tools to actually forge these new universes. And this is where the computational engine comes in. It's a full toolkit written in Python designed specifically to create, manipulate, and understand these weaves.
The whole engine is really built around two key types of tools: generators and analyzers. And you can think of it this way. The generators are the creators. They take foundational number sequences, like the digits of pi or the Fibonacci sequence, and they weave them together into totally new digital textures. Then the analyzers are the observers. They're the scientific instruments, like digital telescopes, that are used to study the properties of these universes you've just created.
And the workflow itself, it follows this really simple logical cycle. First, you choose your foundational ingredients, your source codes for reality. Second, you use a generator to combine them into a totally unique weave. And third, use an analyzer to step back and study what you've just made. It's a complete cycle of creation and discovery.
So what are they looking for? Well, they're asking some pretty profound questions about these digital artifacts. How much randomness or entropy does this weave have? Are there hidden internal patterns? What are its dominant frequencies, its spectral resonance? This is where the project really moves from just simple generation into a form of computational science.
And listen, this isn't just some thought experiment on a whiteboard. It is a real, functioning software project. You can see right here in their own project log, they have a clear, organized development process. The core toolkit, it's complete. Enhanced analytics, added. An API server, it's ready to go.
This is a working system.
Now, for the final and maybe the most surprising layer of the Aetherium Hub. I mean, it's one thing to build a universe simulator for art or research, but this project, it has its sights set on something more. A real-world strategic plan.
And what might be most surprising is that while the ideas are incredibly lofty, the project itself is grounded in a really pragmatic approach. The creators have actually mapped out a whole strategy for how to fund the project's growth and turn their digital creations into tangible assets.
So here's the game plan. First, they believe the unique algorithms they're developing to generate and analyze these weaves, well, that's valuable intellectual property. Second, they plan to pursue patents and license this IP to generate revenue. And third, and this is a very modern twist, they're using their own specialized AI agents to handle the complex work of legal research, patent applications, and grant writing.
So let's bring it all back together. From a wave-first theory of the cosmos, to a digital material called a weave, to a Python engine to create and analyze it, and finally, to a business plan to fund the whole thing. The Aetherium Hub is a complex, multi-layered, and deeply ambitious attempt to build that master key we talked about at the very beginning. Which leaves us with one final, pretty profound thought. This project is trying to model the very fabric of existence with code. And if they, or really anyone, were to succeed, it forces us to ask a really difficult question. When code can so accurately model reality, where does the simulation actually end, and where do we begin?